picked her. So I wanted to
There you
bring
go.
up Athena because there is now they have finally. So we had the question before is like, why is Athena in the Owen while she has this winning streak? She at the time before her match with Billy, she was 27-0 in her ROH streak, and then so she technically, because she won at Forbidden Door, she became 28-0, and then we were like, well, that's kind of weird. So so then I was like, okay, well then she's gonna win the tournament because she'll win 29-30 in the tournament. And then I was like, well, that'll be kind of cool because she can go into Death Before Dishonor as ROH champion, have a 30-0 streak, and she has the Owen now. So like she's going into the pay-per-view with all of these things. And like, so I was like, that's really cool. And I was like, I kind of surprised that they would have her win over Willow. And, because Willow's really over right now. Willow's probably getting ready to not have her belt much longer, and we'll get to why in a few minutes. And so that had been what I thought. And then I saw, so Thursday she had a 2-minute match with an independent wrestler named Casey Spinelli, and she won. So she was technically 29-0. And so then later I saw a tweet from ROH, and they said she was 28-0 in ROH sanctioned matches. So that is their loophole. That is how they're getting around the streak. So Billy, her win against Billy did not count towards her streak. So instead of being 29-0, she's actually 28-0 in ROH. And so I assume that is because they're going to have Willow beat her, and it will not mess up her streak because it is that match will not be ROH sanctioned. That's an AEW match.
It'll be an AEW sanctioned, yeah.
Right. And so that's how, and then I guess what they'll do is, so she'll lose to, I assume she'll lose to Willow because I believe their match is Saturday. I believe that's on Collision, or maybe it's on Rampage. I can't remember which night they're doing that match now. But when that happens, then I think Willow is going to beat her for that. And so it's interesting because Death Before Dishonor is the 21st. And so I can't tell if they're going to have her get to 30 at if Death Before Dishonor will be the win number 30, or if they have her get win number 30 before that, and then she drops the title at Death Before Dishonor. And I kind of am wondering, and I think I mentioned it last week, I have a feeling who might beat her, because Ian made the comment that he thinks that nobody in AEW or in Ring of Honor currently can beat her. And so I think they're going to bring in Jordynne Grace, and I think Jordynne Grace is going to beat her.
Yeah.
That's my thought. And I on the one hand, people are going to be like, oh, Jordynne Grace is on ROH and she's going to be streaming and you can't see her. But if they're going to have her, they could have her go on to Collision if that's what they're going to do. But ROH's women's women's division is better than the AEW women's division as far as how they handle their champions, how much they promote her, because she is the star of ROH. Claudio is hardly ever there. Joe doesn't wrestle very often. He hasn't in the last few weeks. She's the consistent champion. She is like Orange Cassidy is constantly defending his belt. Athena's doing that in Ring of Honor. She is the star of that show, and they can make Jordynne the star of that show. Jordynne is a star. Jordynne is phenomenal. She is one of the best women's wrestlers.
Maybe it's better that it's like that.
So
maybe they're de facto, like they didn't get their show, so maybe they're de facto just taking over ROH.
Maybe so.
You know what? Who cares though? Like if it gets over, no one's gonna say no.
Like as long as it's good, who cares? Right?
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And
so that to me sounds awesome. And that to me, it's like, oh, well, okay, well then go pay for it. I mean, yeah, she is going to be behind the paywall. So go pay for her and go give these women some money if you want to if you want it that badly. Like,
well, it's kind of like,
what do they have now? They have 2, 4, 5 hours of AEW live television now. So maybe you should have to go buy it.
Yeah, and it reminds me a little bit of Trinity and Impact, where you don't, obviously people get hurt if you have access to access, then you can, or if I think there's a few other ways to watch Impact, then you can see Trinity, but Trinity is selling pay-per-views for them. Trinity has a huge following, and so she is selling pay-per-views, and so that's kind of what Athena is doing. She is selling Honor Club because it's the word starting, because me and Brad and Nikki and Lyric have been banging the drum about Athena for weeks now. And now people are starting to pick up. They're seeing this conversation that Athena is doing something special. So for the people who first can afford I know, obviously there's so much streaming out there. So if they can afford the $9.99 a month, and if they have the time, because that's another thing, is having the time to watch all of this wrestling. But I think if they want to see Athena and what she's doing, then some people will pay the $9.99. And then if you have Jordan Grace in there, then there are people who will pay the $9.99 to watch.
Why not build the draw? You're building the draw.
There will be some people who watched Impact, who are fans of Impact. I'm not going to say Impact fans, because Impact fans are incredibly loyal to only Impact,
right.
Which is fine. Right. But they've been watching since like 2002, and have been there through the good and the bad, and the very bad, and the worse.
Yeah,
and
there's some really bad stuff.
And then
but there are people who watch Impact like me, who like more types of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing that, say, if Jordan Grace jumping from there to Ring of Honor, if I didn't already have access to Honor Club, I do. I have access to Honor Club. If I didn't, I would consider picking it up because Jordan Grace was so great in Impact, and there are going to be other people like me in that way.
I agree with that.
And having her feud with Athena will be fantastic. They are going to hit each other very hard.
Yes.
Two very small,
perfect for what Athena's doing right now.
Two very small women hitting each other hard.
It's fun.